All right, so I missed my video last week. I know you guys were missing it, but I wanted to talk a little bit about culturally responsive pedagogy, but just frame it within two stories that I'd like to share myself around that. And I know that culturally responsive pedagogy might mean a number of things, and one of the things we addressed was gender and equity within the science classroom, restricted access and underachievement that occurs in the science classroom, sometimes due to equipment and the funding that particular areas get for their science classrooms and their science labs, and cultural diversity in the science classroom and ways in which that we bring multiple ways of knowing into the classroom as well. So one of the projects that I had worked on is with some teacher candidates where they actually made a medicine kit, and they actually worked very closely with the community service learning group Bidabaan, which was an Aboriginal service learning group in North Bay. This is when I was teaching in North Bay at Nipissing University. And they taught them how to sew medicine kits, which was very difficult in terms of using the needles, and blood was lost, I assure you, in making these kits. But their aim was to bring in knowledge in the classroom, Indigenous ways of knowing, into the classroom so students could study different medicinal purposes for natural herbs. So there's like a few different things that they put inside here. They have cedar, chaga, old man's beard, sage, tobacco, sweetgrass, just to name a few. And they, of course, one of the other highlights that they chose to do was actually to also show the Western uses as well. Just to show a comparative analysis between these different medicinal uses, as well as, of course, honoring the traditional Indigenous uses as well. This is what I was looking for. So this was the kit that they had made. I also wanted to share a personal story in connection to culturally responsive pedagogy in my own my own experience when I was a very, very young person in elementary school. And I remember in grade 1, we had to draw a self-portrait of ourselves. And I had an excellent grade 1 teacher. She was really, really wonderful. But it goes to show how far we've come, in our ideas around culturally responsive pedagogy. But so the class had to do a self-portrait. And I remember there was a set of pencil crayons, I think it was like Laurentian or something, and they would actually label the names of the colors. So there was coral, there was ultramarine blue, but there was also one color called flesh, and it was a very, very peachy, pinky color. So clearly not the color of me, but I remember that the teacher said, when you're finished drawing your portrait, you can use this flesh color to fill in your skin tone. And that's what she said. And I remember now going about to make my portrait and not being very shy about asking, well, what's the color that I'm going to use? Because I obviously did not resonate in terms of my skin color being this particular flesh color. So I didn't. I was very shy about it. And of course, looking back at that moment, I suppose it could have been a great teachable moment, but I was just in grade 1. So what would I have said at that moment? But I remember trying to find my own like brown crayon. But in my a school pack that recently came out, they had crayons. And if you can read closely, it says Multicultural crayons. And there is a series of different shades in here of colors, and they probably need to make so many more, but I mean, amazing that they've even gotten this far from, of course, my grade 1 experience when, there was this one color that was called flesh. I don't think they make that name anymore. I'm sure they've changed their packaging and consumer packaging to be aligned with current times. But this was exciting when I saw this in my kids' care pack from their school. if they want to make a self-portrait, they have so many options now to do that. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, and I'm excited and was really enjoying the things that you guys have shared in terms of experiences that you had in recognizing culture, diversity, gender equity within the classroom, restricted access, and so on in your classrooms, and also in your own learning. So thank you so much for sharing that.